Hello there, Lake County Library. This is Christy Lewis from the Lakeport branch, and today I'm bringing to you a book haul of adult fiction and nonfiction. But before I talk about the books, I just want to let you know that you can order any of these for free using the link to our catalog down below. The titles and author names are also linked down below, so you can copy and paste them directly into the library catalog. And if you order them, they will appear at the library of your choice for free, and we will notify you by text or by phone or by email when your books arrive. Just make sure when you order the books that we have your updated information by calling the library or visiting in person. A lot of these are also available on ebook or audiobook, and we have all kinds of digital resources for free, which you can also access by visiting our website, which is also linked down below in the description. So make sure to check those out and like and subscribe this video if you want to see more from us. All right, let's get into it. First, let's start off with Upgrade by Blake Crouch. This is adult science fiction, and it's about a character called Logan whose genome has been hacked, but he doesn't know that. He just knows that he feels a little sharper. He needs less sleep. He's memorizing things more quickly. He reads more quickly, but eventually he can't deny this change. He soon finds out that he's been targeted for this upgrade to his genome because of his horrific family legacy, which is a mystery to the casual peruser of the summary on the back of the book, so I guess you'll have to read to find out about that. But Logan has to kind of consider the consequences of this upgrade and whether it might actually be necessary for humanity to survive their future. But he's really the only one who can do something about what's happening to him. Nobody else has his kind of power. He's the author of Dark Matter, Recursion, and the Wayward Pines trilogy, and the praise for this book comes from authors of all different stripes. There's Diana Gabaldon, who says that you're basically inside the character's head, like it's really deep and good characterization. There's also Alex Michaelides, who wrote The Silent Patient and The Maidens, which are thrillers. Also Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian and other science fiction. So if Upgrade sounds good to you, you can check it out for free down below. It's also available on ebook and audiobook, and it was published by Ballantine Books in 2022. Next, we have The Librarian Spy by Madeline Miller, who has written a lot of other historical fiction, including some historical romances. She also more recently wrote The Last Bookshop in London, which was a bestseller. This one is inspired by true stories of America's library spies of World War II. That sounds so intriguing, right? So we're following two women in roles that they just never anticipated getting. They only happened because of the war. One of them is a librarian of the Library of Congress. Her name is Ava, and she just thought she was gonna have a very quiet, routine existence because the Library of Congress. But she's recruited by the American government to pose as a librarian in Lisbon and spy for the government. She also is decoding messages from another woman who is stationed in France. And this woman, Elaine, is an apprentice at a printing press in France. And the Nazis are trying to find this printing press. And so they're exchanging messages and they're just finding hope in each other. So I think it's probably about their friendship developing and kind of the situations that they face. Sounds really good. And if The Librarian Spy sounds good to you, you can check it out for free down below. It's also available on ebook and audiobook, and it was published by Hanover Square Press in 2022. Next, we have The American Experiment, Dialogues on a Dream by Dave M. Rubenstein, who is a financier and philanthropist. What is America? That is what his 3-volume series explores. This is the 3rd volume, and in this volume he's including a bunch of interviews from celebrated icons and historians in their various fields, and they are talking about the American experiment of democracy, culture, innovation, and ideas. So it includes Pulitzer Prize winning historians and diplomats, as well as like other professionals like actors and musicians who can talk about the history of their field. And the advanced praise for this book also includes a wide variety of reviewers. So Wolf Blitzer, Katie Couric, Fareed Zakaria, LL Cool J. If The American Experiment sounds good to you, and it sure does to me, I've already ordered it, you can order it for free down below. It's also available in large type, book on CD, ebook, and audiobook, and it was published by Simon & Schuster in 2022. Next, we have All Things Bright and Beautiful by James Herriot. This is the sequel to All Creatures Great and Small, which is a memoir about the world's favorite animal doctor who moves from, I believe, Scotland or Ireland, I can't remember, one of the two, to the Dales in England, and ends up really falling in love with the people there and the animals and the landscape. And he has just such a unique narration voice. It's very charming. It's very humorous. He really portrays the people of the Dales with a lot of warmth and and heart, as well as the animals. And if you're not a fan of like bodily details, you might want to steer clear of the series, just because it didn't bother me when I read the first book. I really loved it, but I know some people who don't want to hear about bodily cavities and fluids overly much did not enjoy that portion. But I listened to the first book of this and I just found it so engaging. It's one of my favorite books of the year because there's just so many interesting medical details. And again, the narration is very heartwarming and funny. So the praise for this is from like every newspaper imaginable. It's got like the Associated Press and the Washington Post and the Boston Globe, and they called it warm and engaging, a book to be happy with, and a rare treat that you should treat yourself to. So this is the sequel, and it's like a different era of his life, I think, than the first book, but not like much later. It's like he's more familiar now with the Dales and he has a wife now and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to listen to this for sure. If All Things Bright and Beautiful or All Creatures Great and Small sounds good to you, you can get it for free down below. All Things Bright and Beautiful is also available on ebook, book on CD, and audiobook. And this new edition was published by St. Martin's Press in 2022. It was originally published in 1973. And finally, we have The Far Land by Brendan Presser, who is a world traveler and travel writer published in a lot of different places. So the subtitle of this one is 200 Years of Murder, Mania, and Mutiny in the South Pacific. And this is about Pitcairn Island, where a group of mutineers ended up, and they were hiding there from the British government because this island was uncharted at the time. While it might have started as like a good hideaway, it devolved into a tribalistic hellscape reminiscent of The Lord of the Flies, according to the description, which just sounds so intriguing to me. This is another book that I'm interested in. Like, all these books sound really good to me, honestly. So Tom Hanks called this a fascinating narrative that you just can't make this stuff up. And the co-creator of Lonely Planet called it a definite reminder that the words island and paradise don't really go together. And he says that the history and modern experience of Pitcairn are weaved together seamlessly into this book. Brendan Presser researched this by taking the quarterly freighter that goes to Pitcairn. You can only get there 4 times a year on this rusty freighter. That's the only way to get there. So he goes there and spends some time with the inhabitants of Pitcairn. There's like 48 people who are descendants of those original mutineers. It's kind of a reflection on our modern time, I think, as well as when the mutineers originally arrived on Pitcairn in like the 1780s or thereabouts, because they weren't discovered until 1808. So really, really fascinating. If The Far Land sounds good to you, you can get it for free down below. It's also available on Playaway, and it was published by Public Affairs in 2022. That is it, my friends. I hope that you enjoyed this book haul, and if you order any of these, let us know down below. And if you have any questions, also leave us a comment. We really love to hear from you, and make sure to like and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this one. Okay, we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.